This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Walker, and today my guest is Larry Anderson, who is one of my clients. He is the owner of Motoring Specialist in Vacaville. I think I said that right, California.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about a lot of things today that have nothing to do with marketing, and I'm really looking forward to this episode. But let's take a second to thank our sponsors. ShopBoss is software built by shop owners for shop owners. ShopBoss offers real solutions backed by real experience. Simply put, it's shop management software that works your way. When customers are in the lobby and cars are on the lift, you don't have time for a learning curve. That's where ShopBoss comes in, with profit-boosting features that work the way you need them to right out of the box. From built-in DVI to robust customizable reporting, ShopBoss makes everything about running a shop work more smoothly. Plus, with their Boss Pay Payments feature powered by 360 Payments, you can enter the era of totally paperless payments. From text to pay, remote payments, and consumer financing options, to compliance, surcharging, and now even offering PayPal and Venmo options. Everything is built right into ShopBoss. Plus, everything is backed by a fantastic support team with one goal in mind: your success. Be the boss with ShopBoss. Independent auto repair shops, get ready to transform your business with AppFueled. It's time for your professional auto service shop to have its own customer loyalty app. AppFueled will build an app that launches a custom loyalty program for your shop in 30 days or less, fully integrated with your point of sale system. Bring Fortune 500 level customer retention strategies to your business without the Fortune 500 budget. Many shops are enjoying the benefits. Our app engages your customers with a loyalty ladder, enticing them to climb the next rung, coming back more often and spending more each visit, all with your own app. Build loyalty with your customers to your brand and boost your shop's growth. Get your first app in 30 days or less, all without breaking the bank. Ready to start? Let AppFueled take your business to the next level. Go to appfueled.com or meet founder Jeremy Glasgow and book your complimentary app vision session at appfueled.com/Jeremy. That's appfueled.com/Jeremy. Hey, Larry, it's great to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I love talking about marketing, but I really love talking about other things. And especially when it comes to what we're going to be talking about with you today. And I'll introduce you to my guests. Again, Larry is the owner of Motoring Specialist in Vacaville, California. But he also is very involved with like off-roading and does a lot of fabrication and just has talents and skills that I think most of us wish that we had. And I want to dig into some of that today and ask you a bit about it and how you've kept your passion for automotive when it becomes your work, but also your hobby. So first, if you would, tell us a little bit about like, how'd you get started with the fabrication and four-wheeling and all that stuff?
Yeah, I've always been into cars. Like since a little tyke, I always tinkering something, taking it apart and putting it back together. So I've always been into it. But as far as getting more into the fabrication and race cars and things, I really always stuck my nose into weird places and took jobs that I probably should not have took and looking at a career path. And honestly, that's how I ended up here at Motoring. I bought this job from the previous owner. When I started as a technician, the previous owner was really into race cars. He raced formula cars and such. And I just thoroughly enjoyed just hanging out with him and learning things, right? And I had my own interest in the sides. And oddly enough, I was not really into the off-road side of things as much as I am now. My wife drove that, right?
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So you see my wife all over, and she's way more social than I am on Facebook and such. So I was helping as a crew chief on a Formula car team, and my wife absolutely hated it. And the team, one of the guys in the team was like, "Come on, Larry, get a clue." Of course she hates it. It's completely selfish. We go do these things, and then we ask our family to come watch us play with our toys. It's like watching somebody play a video game, right?
Yeah.
And I was with my wife. We were at the Ultra 4 race in Reno, and I'd been just working on a Jeep in my garage. And I'm watching this race, and I'm like, I could do that. Like, we could do this. And the next thing you know, the Jeep shifted into a race car, and we stripped all the Jeep off it and made it into a tube chassis thing. And The next thing you know, the very next year later, we're racing Ultra 4. And that just builds on that.
I saw a video of you the other day doing some shock tuning where you had the rock crawler going through some whoops.
The videos never do that stuff justice because it's hairy. We got this thing in 4-wheel drive. It's that video. It doesn't really look like it, but you're going 60 or 70 miles an hour, and the Jeep's going through some holes that are pretty intense. And you're like, I hope it doesn't step out. I hope it doesn't step out.
Yeah.
And but the video looks good in the desert.
All right. So you talked about your wife Cheryl, and she has the Toyota 4x4 that you built for her. Does she get her hands into that any? Does she do any of the work?
No, she used to. When her and I first got together, we were like in the garage together. We'd go to the junkyard together. It's a hot date. And she's learned that she just wants to play with the toy.
Yeah.
And the geeking out in the garage is not her bag.
Yeah. But she loves getting out off-road and putting that thing through its paces.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about her rig and yours.
Yeah. She has a 2003 Toyota Tacoma. This will be her third rig. It's always like an evolution. She had a Blazer. Before I met her, she had a Blazer. And then we got married. She still had it when she sold it, thankfully. Because it just doesn't fit what she was trying to do. The doors are all smashed in. And then she had a Toyota 4Runner that we built, and it was half tube chassis, half. And it didn't drive down the road perfectly. And so it was always a little bit of disappointment. So finally, as time progresses and we stop playing with the race cars, I want a Toyota. I wanted something to drive that rock crawls well on 1 tons. And so it's been a process of getting that. But mind you, that thing it's a beast now. And it has, I'm really proud of this segment of it, it has an 8 HP 70 out of a 2019 Dodge Ram pickup truck. Mm-hmm. It still has the Toyota motor in front of it. It has a 2019 Dodge transmission. It has a shifter out of a 392 Jeep, and then an Atlas behind that. So it's an odd mix. But
I saw when you did that on Facebook, and I was like, how in the world do you piece these things together?
A lot of time. The adapter, I figured out that the engine was very similar to another Toyota engine that they made parts for. And then I contacted a guy in Sweden that was making these adapters and said, hey, I need this to change to that. And it took a couple of revisions, but then, just make it come together. Yeah.
And then you've got the Jeep. What is
Commando.
It? Yeah, it's a Commando.
Yeah.
Tell us about that one.
That's an interesting one, too. It's all custom. The only thing stock is the body. So there's a custom frame. It has custom suspension, 1-ton axles. It has an LS engine in it, an 8 HP 70 out of a 2019 Dodge, an Atlas. It has internal bypass shocks. It's on 40s tires. It's running a JK steering gearbox, so it steers nice. And it's a bit of a beast. It does well.
So it doesn't hurt that you've basically got the Rubicon Trail and Fordyce Creek kind of in your backyard.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that these rigs will do any part of those trails.
Yeah. To be honest, the Rubicon is not what it used to be. The Rubicon is pretty lame nowadays compared to what it was 10 years, 15 years ago. Yeah. It just keeps getting easier, but it's still fun. We don't go to the Rubicon nearly as much. We really prefer to go to Fordyce because it's a little bit more of a challenge. And so that's my place.
I went to the Rubicon when I was 19 years old. So that would be 30 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I think it was the 46th annual, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure I might have been 44th or 45th, but somewhere in there, the Jeepers Jamboree.
Oh, yeah.
And that was such an experience for a 19-year-old that I truly believe that you live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. The Sierra Nevadas is just, there's something special about it.
Yeah.
All right. You talked about the previous owner of your shop and helping him with the formula cars and all that. But still, I've seen video of you doing things that are just lost arts, like manually running machine, doing machine work with, I believe that I was looking at manual machines, not CNC. You talk about building like a tube buggy and all of that. These things are, let's say they're lost arts. They're, at the same time, there's people out there that are, like lots of people out there that are doing that stuff these days as far as the fabrication of chassis and all that stuff. Not so much the machine work, but like Still, how did you learn how to do that?
So a lot of it's trial by error. Like, to be honest, like my first welder was a TIG welder because I was working on formula cars back then.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to TIG weld. I just bought a welder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we burned material until it starts looking pretty, right? The same thing with the lathe. Like I took metal shop in high school, so like you learned how to run a bridge for it, you learned how to run a lathe, but I wasn't good at it. I was a dumb kid, and so I know I want to turn metal. I know I want to do a lathe thing. I bought a lathe, and then just keep learning. Right now, I think there's a huge advantage that YouTube is such a resource. Like if you really want to get in the weeds on something, you can find somebody that will show you how to get there. It's amazing nowadays.
Yeah, you can learn just about anything, I believe, on YouTube. I'm guessing that this is something that as soon as you started doing it, you fell in love with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, when I was 10, I think, like I had little push scooters you had when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I convinced my grandpa to give me a snowmobile motor or a snow blower engine. I cut the back off of that and had a bunch of go-kart parts that I cobbled together. When I was 10, I had this three-wheel go-kart scooter thing. So I've always done this stuff, right? Yeah. Just how it is.
So, I think back to like when I had my shop. My hobby was working on cars and building Jeeps, and I did some fab work and everything. Never like the quality of the stuff that you're doing, but I did build a tube frame scrambler on 2.5 ton military axles and all that stuff. Yeah. I loved it, but then when I started working on cars professionally, and especially when I opened my own shop, it stole my hobby from me. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious about a couple of things. Number one, do you still actually turn wrenches for your business? And the second part of that is, how have you been able to keep the passion alive for doing this when you do this professionally for your work also? Yeah, that's the first thing. My mother warned me about this when I was young. She's stop making a career out of your hobby. You're going to hate your hobby, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is what she's talking about. I can tell you this several times in my career that I've been burnt out. Like I'm just tired of all of it. And I just want to just go away. I think I found a sweet spot now. I think I'm getting closer. But to answer your other question about do I work in my shop? No, I don't. I think that's a big part of it. Currently, I have a lube tech that we're training, and we have a timeline that between now and the next 3 months, I'm going to make sure he's highly supervised and he's getting the right quality establishments that we expect. And so I'll be there with him. But that's a very short-term thing. I learned that hire really good people and give them what your expectations are and let them do that. So that helped an immense amount. Yeah. The other thing that we learned the hard way, because everything has to be hard way. When Woody and I used to work in the shop together, when he was still the owner and I was the tech, we commingled the race cars in the shop. And we would be at the shop on the weekends. And it was like, you never really got a break from this place. And it muddied up a bunch of things. So the customers were confused what we did. The techs wanted to play with the cool toys. They wanted to play with the race cars or the Lotus 7s or the whatever. And so it was just messy, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what changed it, but we decided at one point, we're taking all of that out of the shop. There's not going to be a single piece of hobby things in this entire building, and it all went home. I'm pretty lucky. I have a 40 by 40 garage at home. Yeah. And so it was just fits. But it made a huge impact. So the customers, because we had a lot of times where people thought that we just work on weird race cars. We just work on exotic European cars. And I was like, no, we work on everything. Mm-hmm. And so stopping some of those confusing moments really helped us. And then so now my home time is my focus time on my hobby. My work came at work and focus at work. It's two different things now. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's great advice. And that's one of the things that I really want the listeners to take away from it, because I've heard so many people where they told me, "Oh yeah, I used to love doing that, and now I don't want anything to do with it anymore. I do that all day." Even though many of them don't actually work in the shop anymore, they allowed themselves to get completely burnt out and lost the passion. But to keep it completely separate, I think that's got to be one of the ways that's really allowed you to keep that passion, is Absolutely. To be able to be at home when you're at home and be at work when you're at work. Yeah. And I've never met a coach who, if they bring on a client that has a race car in the shop, that's not like
No,
the first discussion that
it's
they're
out.
having
Yeah.
is get
Yeah.
that thing out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually got two friends in the industry right now that one of them has a big facility that has a completely separate, like, walled off area that he's turning into a spot for him for his hobby stuff. And he doesn't need the room. He's got way more room than he needs. And then another one who is in the process of buying a 40,000 square foot. Yeah, it's
Huge. Yeah.
massive building. And he's going to have a separate area in there. I guess that can work the same. Not quite home when you're at home and work when you're at work, but to have it completely separate.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting to the point again where I've got the shop and I'm about to get back on my S10 project and all that. So I've really
I'm
been.
going to see that go forward. That's a cool one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious, what's your favorite project that you've ever worked on?
The one I'm working on right now. Whenever it is, it's the
Yeah.
one that's right now, because tomorrow will be something different. The next day will be something different. Yeah. Currently, it's been actually bothersome for me because I haven't been able to get back to it because I've had other obligations in between business training events or other home life obligations or whatever it would be. But I have a 75 F-150 that has a 6-liter diesel in it, which love rate the 6-liter diesel.
Oh.
They're really nice. And it has it's 2008 engine and transmission, a manual transfer case out of something out of the 90s, and then a 2001 chassis and a 2005 front axle. But that's my current project that I'm like dying to get back to touching it, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What kind of time frame you think you have on that?
I am really hoping that I can start and make this thing drive in its own power by April.
Yeah.
And we're October now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The winter is my strong month. Like, so the winter that seems between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I get a fair bit of time. And then the winter, just leave me alone. I'm in my hole. I'm doing my thing. And then spring happens and it's right where I want to be.
So one of the other things I wanted to ask you about, you're big into like 3D printing.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that. Because I just saw where you were building like almost like an armrest or something for a Jeep Commando. And what got you into that?
So I tell you, the first thing is I wish I would have not gotten into 3D printing as early as I did. I thought it was super cool stuff. My brother had a 3D printer like way before I did, but it was like the price point of something that worked when he bought it was way out of my grasp, right? And so I just sat in the fence. But when I thought they were good enough, I bought one. And it was a huge mistake, right? Because the technology just wasn't there yet, right? Now, with Bamboo Lab stuff, man, I have stuff printing right now at home. Like right now, I have a project, an art project for the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame that I'm doing. It's an art piece for them. But I have things for all my jigs for the metal piece that I'm making. Every morning right now, I drop whatever part of the project I'm working on, set the printer to go, and then I go to work and I come back and I check on it, make sure it all works. But it's 3D printing. My draw to 3D printing is it allows me to make things that 10 years ago were impossible.
Yeah.
Right. So like in my Commando, I have all the heater ducts and all vents are all 3D printed. All the bezels for all the gauges and everything are all 3D printed. My intake air cleaner assembly of the whole from the throttle body all the way to where the air cleaner's at is all 3D printed. My Ford project, the whole HVAC housing is going to be 3D printed. The air cleaner is going to be 3D printed. So it's like all these things that you can make at a price point that you couldn't touch this stuff, or you'd be such a month-long project into whatever little piece, where now you design it, you let the printer go and you walk away, right? It comes out.
And with that, do you find yourself ever making parts for customer cars or anything like that?
That topic's been brought up a bunch lately. And my opinion, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm really into computer-aided drafting, right? Like I spend a lot of time with that. And that's way outside the wheelhouse of what a normal technician's going to do.
Yeah.
And so trying to copy a part, reverse engineering a part, there's a whole different skill set that goes into that. If the industry gets to a point where they are releasing STL files that says, hey, this part, just print it and it fixes this problem, then I think we'll be in that automotive space. We'll start seeing it happen.
Yeah.
But now I think it's too early.
So was there a huge learning curve, I'm guessing, to allow you to be able to do the CAD work to make these parts for your vehicles, like for your Jeep and all that?
Yeah. For me, not really, because I've been into it for so long. So
Yeah.
I've been drafting for 15, 20 years now. And so when you look at like 3D printing, it's, oh, this makes sense because now I can just draw it up and send it to a printer. Where previously I was drafting things to make sure they fit something, and then going in and making them in metal to see, okay, does that actually work?
Yeah.
So for me, it was a pretty easy transition. I do think I have a lot of people that talk about buying 3D printers, and I'm like, you know how to use CAD? Are you there already? I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go get files off the internet. And I'm like, you're gonna be dissatisfied, right?
Yeah.
Because the things on the internet just never fit what you want, right? They're always a little off.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there any, no, I was about to ask you something that you already answered. Let's see. I guess one of the last things that I would ask you would be, for the shop owners that have kind of lost their passion for doing the fun things, not just the day-to-day repairs, and even some of them have, they've truly become business people and have let that completely consume their lives. But for those people that have lost the passion, like, what's a piece of advice that you would have for them?
Jeez, I don't know. Like, to be fair, like, I look at other business owners sometimes and I'm like, man, I wish I had their drive. I wish I had what they have. But then I like sit back and look sometimes and I'm like, I can't give you an example of a person exactly, but I look at what their social surroundings are, what they do. They're like all in their business. That is their complete social avenue. That is everything. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be there. I really like these other things that I do over here. I don't know. That's a tough question. To be fair, I constantly fall in and out of love with my own business, right?
Yeah.
But what I always tend to do, my wife has trained me to do this, or has given me the motivation to do this, is just be thankful, be grateful. Think about all the things that it's allowing me to do, that if I didn't have this opportunity and I didn't make these choices, I'd be in a much different place and wouldn't be able to do the fun things I do on the side, right?
Yeah.
And so if I decided that, it's like, no, be grateful, be thankful.
There's a lot of people that have very successful businesses, but they just don't have a life.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
and it's
Perfect
like,
point.
what is the point if you don't have the life? And I love what you said about what your business gives you the ability to do, because I feel that so much. There are definitely times in life where, in my business, I'm like, man, why in the world do I choose to do this? And then all I have to do, Kim talks about how if you're ever having a bad day, just go look at your photo albums in Facebook. And it's, man, some of the things that we've been able to do. So I love that. I know this was a very different episode than what we usually record, but I've really enjoyed getting to talk to you about some of the stuff that you're doing. Gosh, I was going to ask you about the shower you built for the Sierra Trek and all that stuff, but you're doing some cool things.
Thanks,
and I love watching the things that Cheryl will often post about that you're building. And I really do sit back sometimes and I'm like, I wish that I had the talent in myself that this guy's got in one finger, it seems. And
that's the problem with social media, is it shows all the highlights. It doesn't show like all the, oh, we're just going to cut that up again. That didn't work. Right?
Yeah. I hear you. But man, thank you for being on today. For our listeners, I appreciate you listening into this episode. And remember, we are just one of a handful of podcasts on the Aftermarket Radio Network. You can find the others at aftermarketradionetwork.com. I hope you'll listen in again next week. And until then, go fill those bays.